You have made many comments over the years, and I remember one was that how can a base runner expect to take a second baseman out at second base on a double play if he's talking to him before the game?
Well, that's right. You know, shaking hands, laughing and joking around. How are you going to do that? Or how are you going to push somebody back off the plate if you're a pitcher, if you're friends, or you're going out to dinner after or whatever? I know fraternizing as it's called nowadays. I call it sitting around shooting the bull in the days, and that I couldn't do. I could not do. I was focused on winning a ball game and doing whatever I have to do to win a ball game, was short of hurting someone intentionally.
That's why I had to have a show like this to get to talk to you, because you never talked to me as a player. But I remember that. I remember that arm hanging out over the and coming up, and stayed in the box. And we played against one another for about 4 years in the National League before you were traded. And I'll guarantee you a lot of National League pitchers were happy you were out of the league.
Well, I tell you what, I was happy to get out of there too. With a lot of National League pitchers, the way they used to use me for a dartboard and throwing it. But that just made me a little tougher when pitchers knocked me down or whatever. I was just made me more determined. But that was part of the game. That was part of the game then, and it was accepted. As long as you didn't come up around the head area, even in those days, it was accepted as being part of the game.
It was, you were right on top of the plate, and I can remember going over you in meetings, and it was very difficult from a catcher's standpoint, because it'd say whether it was Kurt Simmons or Ray Sadecki or Bob Gibson, how do you want to pitch Frank Robinson? And our manager would always say, keep the ball away from him. And I would say, but you can't keep the ball away from him, because if you keep the ball away from him, he's on top of the plate, and the ball away from him's in his wheelhouse. And then the manager, Johnny Keane or Red Shandies, would say, well, then pitch him inside. I said, well, you can't pitch him inside because he's too quick inside. But you were, even among Aaron, Mays, all of them, I found it more difficult to pitch to you or to call a game with you hitting, because there was really no vulnerable spot. You took that inside pitch away because you were on top, you were quick enough to get around on it, and you couldn't throw it away, because if throwing it away, unless it was off the plate and you didn't go after bad balls.
Well,
why were you that tough? You caused me all this hair, this gray hair.
If they were that far off the plate, it was on the plate to me. I invented that stance my last year in the minor leagues, because I said, if I'm going to the big leagues next year, where can a pitcher get me out more consistent than he can? And I figured the pitchers would be able to get me out more consistent away than they would inside.
Which is right.
And so that's when I got to change that stance, because that way also I didn't have to go into the ball to cover the outside part of the plate. I could take my normal stride and still cover the outside part of the plate. As a matter of fact, I could hit balls that far off the plate, as long as it wasn't a good slider going away. I could still hit that ball and pull it if I wanted to. And the ball inside, if I didn't pick it up quick enough, yeah, you could get in there.
Yeah, sure.
If I picked it up quick enough, you couldn't get in there.